When it comes to doubling your money, most people think you need to possess the foresight of a fortune teller, the risk tolerance of a professional skydiver, and the insider connections of a corrupt politician. We are conditioned to believe that turning $1 into $2 is a mystical art form reserved for the Wolf of Wall Street types who shout into telephones and wear suits that cost more than your car. They tell you that to get rich, you need to hustle. They tell you to day trade crypto at 3:00 a.m. because the Japanese markets are opening. They tell you to leverage your house to buy an NFT of a bored monkey because this time it's different. And usually, following this advice results in the exact same outcome. You staring at a red line on a graph that goes straight down, wondering why you took financial advice from a 19-year-old on TikTok who rents his Lamborghini. The pain of trying to double your money the fast way is that it almost always leads to having your money. You chase a 100% return in a month, and you end up with a 100% loss in a week. It is stressful, it is confusing, and it makes you feel like the game is rigged against you. But if you want to double your wealth, it is actually easy. You don't need to guess which company will invent the next iPhone, and you certainly don't need to stare at charts until your eyes bleed. You just need to understand one simple, magical number that the banks hope you never memorize. You just need the rule of 72. So what is this rule, and why does it sound like a highway speed limit? The rule of 72 is a mental math shortcut that estimates how long it will take for an investment to double in value with a fixed annual rate of return. It is the only equation in finance that you can actually do in your head while waiting in line for a coffee, and it tells you everything you need to know about whether you're getting rich or getting scammed. Let's use an analogy. Imagine your journey to wealth is a road trip. The destination, the finish line, is doubling your money. The distance to that destination is fixed at 72 miles. Your interest rate, or your rate of return, is the speed of your car. If you drive at 1 mile per hour, it will take you 72 hours to get there. If you drive at 72 miles per hour, it will take you 1 hour. The math is actually simple. It looks like this. You take the number 72 and you divide it by your interest rate. The result is the number of years it takes to double your money. 72 divided by your interest rate equals years to double. Here is the aha moment where you realize why the old way, keeping your money in a traditional savings account, was actually a trap. Let's say you are a safe investor. You put your money in a standard big bank savings account. The bank tells you they are generous and they give you an interest rate of 0.1%. Let's apply the rule. 72 divided by 0.1 is 7,200. It will take you 7,200 years to double your money. To put that in perspective, if you had invested $1 during the construction of the Great Pyramids of Giza, you would still be waiting for it to turn into $2. That is not investing, that is geological stagnation. Now compare that to the stock market. Historically, the S&P 500 returns about 10% per year on average. 72 divided by 10 is 72. In the stock market, your money doubles roughly every 7 years. If you start with $10,000, in 7 years it is $20,000. $7 years later, it is $40,000. 7 years after that, it is $80,000. You didn't do any work, you didn't sell anything. You just drove the car at 10 miles per hour instead of 0.1 miles per hour. The logic proves that wealth isn't about how much money you put in, it's about the speed of the vehicle you put it in. Now that we know the magic number, how do we actually use it to change our lives? Step 1 is the easy first step, the speedometer check. You need to look at every single place you have money stored right now and ask, how fast is this car moving? Most humans are lazy. We open a bank account when we are 16 years old because our mom banked there and we never change it. We leave tens of thousands of dollars sitting in a checking account earning 0% interest because moving it feels like paperwork. Here is a joke for you. What is the difference between a checking account and a mattress? The mattress is more comfortable to sleep on, but they both pay the same interest rate. Actually, that's not fair. At least the mattress doesn't charge you a monthly maintenance fee for the privilege of holding your cash. You need to log in and find your interest rate. If you don't know it, it's probably 0. If it's less than 4% or 5% in a high-interest environment, you are driving a car with no wheels. You need to move that cash into a high-yield savings account or money market fund immediately to get that rate up to 4 or 5%. 72 divided by 5 is 14. 4 years. That is infinitely better than 7,200 years. Step 2 is the secret step most people miss. The rule of 72 works in reverse, and it is terrifying. We call this the debt trap. The banks know the rule of 72 better than you do, and they use it as a weapon against you. When you borrow money on a credit card, you are not the investor. The bank is the investor and you are the investment. Let's look at the average credit card interest rate. It's usually around 24%. Let's apply the rule. 72 divided by 24 is 3. That means every 3 years, your debt will double if you don't pay it off. If you owe $10,000 on a credit card and you ignore it, in 3 years it becomes $20,000. In 6 years, it becomes $40,000. In 9 years, it becomes $80,000. This is why people feel like they are drowning. They are swimming against a current that is moving at 24 miles per hour. The secret step to wealth isn't just investing. It is eliminating any debt that has a doubling time of less than 10 years. If the rule of 72 says your debt doubles in 3, 4, or 5 years, it is a financial emergency. You cannot outinvest a 24% credit card. You have to kill the debt first. Step 3 is the maintenance step, the do-nothing protocol. This is the hardest step for human beings because we are wired to do something. When we want to fix a problem, we want to tinker, we want to check the app. We want to buy and sell, but the rule of 72 requires time. That is the denominator. Once you put your money in a vehicle moving at 10% like an index fund, your only job is to sit in the passenger seat and keep your hands off the steering wheel. Every time you sell a stock because you got scared, or every time you try to time the market, you are essentially slamming on the brakes. You stop the car, you lose your momentum. To let the rule work, you have to be boring. You have to be willing to watch paint dry for 2 years. Now you might be thinking, John, waiting 7 years for my money to double is too slow. I want to be rich next year, not in 2032. 72 is a boring number. This is the most common excuse people use to justify gambling. They look at the math, they see that compounding takes patience, and they reject it in favor of lottery tickets or meme coins. They say, I only have $1,000. Doubling that to $2,000 in 7 years doesn't change my life. But that is just a logical fallacy called the get-rich-quick paradox. Here's why that thinking keeps you poor. When you try to speed up the process faster than the rule of 72 allows, let's say you want to double your money in 1 year, that implies you need a 72% return. 72 divided by 72% equals 1 year. Do you know what kind of risk you have to take to get a 72% return? You have to take risks that have a 99% chance of going to zero. When you try to force the math, you usually crash the car. The reality is that you don't just invest a lump sum once. You invest consistently. The rule of 72 applies to every single dollar you put in. The dollar you invest today doubles in 7 years. The dollar you invest next month starts its own 7-year clock. Eventually, you have an army of dollars all doubling on overlapping schedules. That is how you build momentum. Now, furthermore, you have to consider the invisible enemy, inflation. Some of you might say, well, cash is safe. I'll just keep it under my mattress. Let's apply the rule of 72 to inflation. If inflation is 3% per year, how fast does your money lose half its value? 72 divided by 3 is 24. In 24 years, your cash will buy half as much as it does today. If inflation spikes to 6%, 72 divided by 6 is 12. In just 12 years, your savings are cut in half in terms of purchasing power. Doing nothing is not safe. Doing nothing guarantees you lose the game. You have to get your money moving faster than the speed of inflation. If inflation is the car chasing you at 3 miles per hour, you better be driving at least 4 miles per hour just to stay ahead. The rule of 72 isn't just a fun party trick to impress your friends at a bar, though let's be honest, if you are talking about compound interest at a bar, you probably don't have many friends to impress. It is the fundamental law of survival in a capitalist economy. You are either on the side of the equation where your money is doubling, or you are on the side where your debt is doubling. You get to choose which seat you sit in. So, to summarize, the rule of 72 is the speedometer of your wealth. Divide 72 by your interest rate to see how many years it takes to double your money, and make sure you aren't stuck in a savings account that takes 7,000 years to get there. Anyway, I'm collecting donations in the form of subscribes to fund the next video.